Welcome to Hoardganize with professional organizer Rachel Seavey. Every Sunday at 6 p.m., Rachel shares her expertise and compassionate approach to help you deal with overwhelming clutter. Rachel?
Hey, collectors. Welcome to the Hoardganize Podcast. I'm your host, professional organizer Rachel Seavey, and this episode is all about your family member who is hoarding. Now, this doesn't have to be a family member. It could be someone you're dating. It could be a friend. It could be a teacher, a neighbor. If you have a family member or friend who's hoarding, most likely you're concerned about their safety and you're going to want to do everything possible to try and help them. I work with family members and neighbors and friends all the time, and I know that deep down they're really coming from a good place and want this person to be safe and healthy. So I wanted to provide you guys with 5 tips on how you can help your family member who's hoarding and 5 tips on ways you cannot help your family member who is hoarding. I know you have good intentions, but there are really some things that will cause a lot of harm. Things that will cause this person to continue hoarding, maybe even more, and to shut you out of their lives. 5 tips on how to help your family member who hoards. Tip number 1, be non-judgmental. Instead of verbally attacking the person or ridiculing them, try understanding what they are going through. Are they battling some sort of depression? Are they physically incapable? Try and really understand why this person is having such a hard time before you are judgmental. Tip number 2, suggest therapy. Hoarding can be helped by therapy. A lot of the reason why people hang on to things is because they've been through something traumatic. When they're able to release the emotional clutter, it's so much easier to let the physical clutter go. Tip number 3, hire a professional organizer. By hiring a third non-objective party, your family member will feel like they have a fair chance to explain their side. Tip number 4, offer to help. If your family member is disabled or aging, perhaps they just need help picking up garbage and taking it to their trash, or help with laundry. Try and find some simple tasks that you can do to help your family member who's hoarding on a regular basis. Tip number 5, listen. Perhaps you're only hearing a defensive response to your judgmental comment. By listening to why this person feels the way they do and why they're in the place that they are, this will help you to better serve them. A lot of the times we're planning out what we're going to say next, or we're talking over our family member who hoards because of frustration. Try and listen. 5 things you should not do for your family member who hoards. Number 1, judge. You might think your family member is gross, out of their mind, etc. You certainly don't have to share this with them. This is not helpful. They're already going through such a hard time. Tough love does not help hoarding. Tip number 2, please don't arrange a cleanup while they are away. Unfortunately, I hear this story all of the time. This only makes the person resentful, angry, and more likely to continue acquiring to replace what you threw out, and hey, maybe a bit for spite. A client told me just this week that being cleaned out while she was in the hospital was one of the worst feelings that she's ever felt. She compared it to being raped in college. She said she felt absolutely violated. Tip number 3, don't throw away your family members' things when they're not looking. Sure, it's tempting, I get it, but it doesn't stop their behavior, so it doesn't really help. And if and when they catch you, you might not be allowed back in. Tip number 4. Call a professional organizer or cleanup service on their behalf. I know you love to call me and tell me to just go on over to your mother's house and clean it up. I don't mind when you call for advice, but I won't, and hopefully no other trained professional is going to work with someone who has not personally invited them over. You've got to get your family member on the same page. You can't just arrange a cleanup for them. This makes it really awkward for everyone involved. Tip number 5, please don't call the police. Unless your family member is in immediate harm or danger, always allow your family member the chance to clean up before enforcement is involved. A lot of the times, your family member will be bombarded with fees and fines, things found outside in addition to the clutter, and you might be forcing them into bankruptcy as well as losing their home. Collectors, if you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, please show me some love and click that thumbs up button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel or leave a comment. I really enjoy hearing from you all. Until next time, collectors, and remember, happiness for your family member is a place between too little and too much.
This has been Hoardganize with Rachel Seavey. New episodes are available every Sunday at 6 p.m. and also on the Collector Care YouTube channel. Download Rachel's Affirmations for Collectors on iTunes or Amazon.com, or sign up for Rachel's blog at collectorcare.com and receive 7 tips for clutter-free living. Thanks for listening.